The Southern Wind shipyard, based in Cape Town, South Africa, is now known as one of the best manufacturers of blue water cruisers in the world. Blue water cruisers, though, with a sporting aspect, with good performing bottoms. From the beginning of the activity, the boats have become remarkably larger. Just think, we started with some 72-footers, and today there's a fleet of 100-footer seagoing boats. At a little less than a year from the anniversary of the activities, the shipyard has launched its new flagship, this beautiful 110-footer. Friends of Yacht and Sail, this also means a reward for your loyalty. Welcome to the journey aboard this fantastic dream boat. The widely experimented formula, which foresees the concept and study of interiors entrusted to Nauta Design on naval architecture by the FAR Studio, is repeated with success for this flagship too. The inspiring principles are the same as the younger sisters, or rather the real blue water, but with a careful eye to the performance and especially to the pleasure of sailing. FAR has guaranteed a performing hull, which, however, is able to hold everything necessary for sailing around the world, while Nauta has made everything balanced and elegant, with some characteristic signs, such as the design of the deckhouse, which makes the 110-footer unmistakably a southern wind. The construction of the new flagship represents the evolution of the species, the fruit of years of experience in advanced composites. Besides, the blue water vocation does not block the use of cutting-edge materials, which makes the hulls more rigid and performing. Indeed, it is the lamination which represents one of the departments of excellence of the shipyard, where imagination is linked to advanced technologies. Both the hull and the deck are laminated with the infusion method in carbon and core cell sandwich, with the exterior skin of the hull in hybrid Kevlar glass for greater resistance to impact. The laminate is then laid carefully at 75 degrees, an exclusive innovation by Southern Wind, consisting in the mould of the hull made in 3 pieces to allow for optimal working in the more complex parts and to facilitate distribution of the resin at the moment of infusion.
The boat
has just gone into the water, so the finishing touches are being added. We're in an area of shipyards, so you can hear the noise of this sandblaster. It's incredible, though. As soon as you arrive, you don't really appreciate the real dimensions because, well, it's very well balanced and proportioned. You only have to go on board, though, to understand how large it is. I don't think words are necessary to describe the beauty of this never-ending deck. We'll try to describe some parts to you because it would really take a long time to tell you everything about the boat. To begin with, the manoeuvre cockpit. Meanwhile, we can see this beautiful spray hood, which completely protects both the entrance and this first part of the manoeuvre cockpit. Obviously, it's not mounted yet, but when it is, you'll only need this simple manoeuvre. Just think how strong it'll be on this rigid structure with these lifelines. Here there are 2 columns, which for a boat of this size are quite thin, aerodynamic. Obviously, all designed and produced in-house. From both, you can control everything, from the engine to the bow thruster to the sails. The main sheet with the winch cap has a good 3 speeds, so as to manage the efforts and the speed of the return boom. From here on, the footrests are still missing. There's a large sunbathing area, which can also be equipped with cushions. But under here, there's one of the first working elements of service of this boat. Now, let's go and see how it's been organized. This is the large space under the stern area, what they call the lazarette. It's a service space, obviously one of the most important on the boat. Many things are concentrated here, many installation elements such as the desalinator and all types of pumps immediately accessible. It's all surfaced. Then, for the first time in a Southern Wind, there's also a tender garage where you can store a dinghy of up to about 3.8 meters in length. Obviously, the part of the stern transom which opens to hold the tender also serves as a large bathing platform. When it opens, the stairway is automatically mounted. You just have to adjust the last step and then take a look at the amount of space there is, a type of beach almost over the sea. There are also some lockers where you can put damp things, and then here you can put the tender. There's this small bit to block it. Going away from the manoeuvre cockpit, which is obviously the entrance which connects directly to all the crew's quarters, you reach the cockpit, which is entirely dedicated to guests. This area includes this fantastic, enormous sun deck. Just look at how big it is and how well protected it is. Then, through this convenient passageway, you can reach the part of the real cockpit with lots of seating. A complete football team with reserves could sit here. There are a couple of fridges, one here and one here, so cold drinks are always available. Then these large tables can be doubled in size. They turn, and in this way, serve all the various seats. Here we can see the window, which is the new Southern Wind signature as far as flush decks are concerned. So at the moment, Southern Wind has two distinct things about it, that of the deck saloon and that of the flush deck, which is really very beautiful and very characteristic. Obviously, the deck house is completely flat because the companions are all flush. Here at the foot of the mast is the second manoeuvre area, consisting of Genoa rails, which is external from the 4 manoeuvre winches here, and all the stoppers of the hoists on the mast. Apart from the Genoa hoist, which is returned on the hydraulic piston inside the mast, therefore it's manoeuvrable directly from the cockpit. Now, from this point onwards, the deck house is interrupted and all the deck is flat. The companions are all flush. There's also accommodation, the saddles for a large tender. In this way, if the boat needs a bigger tender, it can be housed here. Then, going further forward, we find this imposing sail lowerer. This is where the owner's bathroom ends, and from here this beautiful sail lowerer opens. This is a really large environment. It could also contain the crew's quarters if it weren't for the fact that Southern Wind already has a space dedicated to these. Consequently, it all becomes storage. It's the second largest service environment on the deck, where you can put just about anything, and also reach various parts of the installation. At the extreme end of the bow, you can see the large bits which can be lowered, the very protective triple stay, the cable manoeuvre capstan, and then here, the real anchor space, which has a hydraulically fold-away nose. And then you can see some interesting details, such as the safety for manually manoeuvring the jib winder, if it should break down, and then the waterproof companion from where you can reach the real cockpit chain. This is the typical Southern Wind setup, with all the stern area dedicated to the crew and the central area along with the bow for the guests. Given the size, what obviously changes is the layout of the environment, and especially the style changes. Much more modern, special, with completely open pore woods. You go below by means of this convenient stairway, which has very fashionable steps in carbon. But when the sun hits them, above all in the Mediterranean, it's impossible to go down barefoot. You need your shoes. When you go below, it's a fantastic sensation because this boat really is very bright and, above all, very spacious, considering the fact that with the raised flooring, the engine room is below. But at the same time, the deck house is low, so it gives a fantastic sensation of space. One problem could be the fact that from here, from this lifeline up to this other one in the bow, there's no grip. So if the boat lists, well, we can imagine this is an area where you need to hold on to the table. The real wardroom, the area dedicated to the dinette, is divided into two. This here, which is the dining room with very light carbon chairs made by the shipyard. The table can be opened up to seat quite a few people. And then, in front, is an area which is